can't give you all the answers.
But we can help you flesh out your fantasy that there are some.
All right, ready to tune into some seriously good vibrations. We're doing a deep dive into the world of sound alchemy today.
Sounds good to me.
We're tapping into a YouTube channel, GEEZY333K official. Really interesting stuff. They're all about how sound, well, it's not just something you hear. It's like this force that shapes reality.
Yeah, it's easy to forget how powerful sound really is.
Totally.
I mean, think about ancient cultures. They were really onto something with how much reverence they had for sound.
Right, like it was sacred or something.
Exactly. They saw it as this creative force in the universe, something that was intertwined with knowledge, even consciousness itself.
Okay, now that's just blowing my mind.
Yeah.
So tell me more about the videos mentioned Hathor. She's the Egyptian goddess of music, right?
Right.
And then they connected her to Vak, this Hindu cow goddess. Her name literally translates to voice. What's the connection there?
It's such a fascinating link, isn't it?
Totally.
It suggests this shared understanding, like across cultures, that creation itself, like the entire universe, stems from sound, from vibration. Like, you know the Hindu concept of Nada Brahma?
Refresh my memory.
It's basically the universe as a symphony of sound. Everything, and I mean everything, emerges from this, like, primordial vibration.
Whoa, okay, I'm getting chills. So it's not just about, like, listening to a pretty song. It's way deeper than that.
Oh, yeah, way deeper.
It's like sound is this primal force that underpins literally everything.
You got it. And it gets even more interesting when the videos start talking about how the ancient Egyptians built their temples, places like Dendera.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
They were like giant instruments, almost.
Wait, hold on. Like the whole temple was designed to make sound.
That's the idea they're proposing.
Wow.
Each temple, they're suggesting it was constructed with these specific dimensions, right?
Okay.
And they used certain materials to create a resonant chamber, so to speak. And these chambers were tuned to a specific musical scale.
How do they even figure that out?
Well, it was all determined by how the temple was aligned with the heavens. They were using architecture to, like, harmonize with the cosmos.
Now, that is just incredible. Like, they were encoding knowledge and creating these specific experiences all through sound. So where does Thoth fit into all of this? He's the Egyptian god of wisdom, right?
Thoth. He's key here. See, he's described as the tongue of Ra, the sun god.
Okay, so Ra's the big guy, the head honcho.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So Ra represents that primal creative force.
And Thoth, through sound, through language, he gives that force form and expression. Sound becomes this tool for creation and for communication.
Okay, now that is seriously mind-blowing. So we've got sound as this creative force, this way to communicate, and then on top of all of that, there's this whole other layer of sound shaping our consciousness.
Right, and this is where those videos draw a parallel between what the ancient Egyptians believed and Hermetic philosophy. Specifically, the principle of mentalism.
Mentalism, like mind reading and ESP and stuff.
Not quite. In this context, it's more about the idea that all is in the mind.
Okay, I think I get it.
They're suggesting that sound isn't just something that we passively experience, like something happening to us, you know?
Yeah.
It can actively influence our state of being, our perception of reality even.
Hold on. I need a second to wrap my head around this. Are we saying that our thoughts, our consciousness, is basically a form of vibration, just like sound?
That's one way to interpret it, and it gets to the very essence of sound alchemy. You know, it's the idea that we can use sound intentionally, we can direct it to create change within ourselves and in the world around us.
So it's like they had this intuitive understanding of physics, of vibration, and we're only now starting to get a handle on it with our fancy scientific tools.
Exactly.
So how does this connect to, like, things we hear about today? Sound healing, or how ancient cultures use sound in rituals.
And that's where things get even more interesting. Like, have you ever heard of cymatics?
Cymatics, we can develop it.
It's the study of how sound waves create these visible patterns.
Oh, right. I've seen those videos, those crazy shapes that form with the sand and the vibrations.
It really is incredible, isn't it? It's like sound becomes a sculptor shaping matter with its invisible hand.
It's wild. So, okay, for those of us who slept through high school physics, break it down for me. How does sound actually do that? How does it create those patterns?
Think about dropping a pebble into a still pond.
Okay.
You get those ripples, right? They spread outward.
Right. Those concentric circles.
Exactly. Sound waves, they work in a similar way. Instead of water, though, they're traveling through air or water, even solid objects.
Looks like they're causing the particles in that thing, whatever it is, to vibrate.
You got it. They cause the particles in that medium to vibrate.
Okay, I'm following so far. But how does that turn into, like, those geometric shapes we see? Those are so trippy.
Okay, picture this. You sprinkle some sand on a metal plate.
Okay, got my sand.
And then you play a sound through it. The plate's going to vibrate from that sound.
Right. Makes sense.
And those vibrations, they cause the sand particles to move.
Okay.
So they get pushed away from areas of high vibration and collect in areas of low vibration.
And that's what creates those patterns, the way the sand moves.
Precisely. The areas where the sand clumps together, those are nodes. They're points of minimal vibration.
And the empty spaces.
Those are antinodes, points of maximum vibration. And what you're left with are these intricate geometric patterns. It's like a visual fingerprint, unique to each frequency of sound.
Hold on, so you're saying every single sound has its own visual signature, its own pattern that it creates?
You got it. It's like each sound has this inherent structure, this blueprint that's encoded within it.
Wow. So it's like we're not just hearing sounds, we're experiencing these underlying structures, these blueprints.
And it suggests that sound isn't just something we perceive with our ears. It's a fundamental force that can organize and structure matter itself.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. So are we saying that sound could be responsible for, like, everything? Planets, stars, like the whole shebang?
It might sound out there, but it's a question that scientists are actually exploring.
Get out. Seriously.
Seriously. There's this theory that in the very early universe, sound waves, or something very similar to them, played a crucial role in shaping the cosmos as we know it.
Wait, are we talking about the Big Bang here?
That's right. Imagine the Big Bang not as this silent explosion, but as this colossal sonic event. These primordial sound waves, they would have rippled through the early universe, creating regions of higher and lower density, much like the patterns we see in cymatics.
So those fluctuations, those areas of density, that's what eventually led to the formation of galaxies, stars, planets.
That's the idea. It's like one epic symphony, right?
Now that's what I call music to my ears. So we've talked about ancient cultures using sound in rituals and for healing, but how does this, all of this we're talking about, connect to our everyday lives?
And that's the beauty of it. Even without understanding all the complexities of cymatics or the Big Bang, we can still tap into the power of sound. Remember, it's not just about what our ears are picking up, it's about how those vibrations are interacting with our bodies, our minds. Everything's connected.
So being more mindful of our sonic environment, basically.
Absolutely. Paying attention to the sounds of nature, the rhythm of your own breath, the music that uplifts you or calms you, even exploring ancient practices, things like chanting, drumming, listening to binaural beats. You might be surprised at what you discover.
It's like we have this amazing tool for healing and transformation right at our fingertips, and we're only just starting to realize its potential. Now, about that cat experiment.
Ah, yes.
What was so crucial about it that we had to hold off talking about it?
Or this experiment, it was referenced in the YouTube video, and while ethically it raises some eyebrows today,
Yeah, I bet.
it was aiming to demonstrate the distinction between the brain and the mind.
It's the brain and the mind. Okay, I'm listening.
So in this experiment, they...
Okay, before we go there, can you remind me, what was the whole point of this experiment? What were they trying to figure out?
Consciousness.
Oh.
Whether consciousness could exist on its own without, a physical brain.
Wow.
This experiment, it was done a while back, and ethically, well, let's just say there are some serious questions there, but those videos mention it because it makes you think about, like, what is the mind, really?
Yeah, no kidding. So what did they do exactly, and what happened?
Okay, so basically, they took out a cat's brain.
They, well,
Removed it, but here's the thing. Afterwards, the cat, it was still doing things, moving around, reacting to stuff. Like, it was still aware somehow.
wait, are you serious? No brain, but it was still not functioning. That's kind of freaking me out.
It is pretty wild, right? Challenges everything we think we know about how consciousness works. The researchers, they suggested that this dot awareness, this ability to still interact with the world, it meant that there's something more to consciousness than just the physical brain.
So are they saying that consciousness is more like, I don't know, like a field? Something that could exist outside of our bodies?
That's a really interesting way to think about it. it lines up with some pretty far out ideas about consciousness being this fundamental part of the universe, you know? Now, to be fair, this experiment is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle.
Right.
But it connects back to those Hermetic principles, that idea that all is mind, like consciousness comes first.
This completely changes how we see the whole mind-body connection. And if our consciousness isn't just stuck in our heads, it opens up. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Exactly. And then it makes you wonder about sound and all of this. If our thoughts, our intentions are like vibrations too, could they be affecting the world around us in ways we haven't even imagined? Could we use sound and our intention to like actually shape reality?
Okay, now that is a powerful thought. It makes those ancient practices we were talking about, using sound for healing and stuff, it's not just some mystical mumbo jumbo. It's like advanced technology that we're just starting to understand again.
I think that's a great way to put it. Like these ancient cultures, they were tuned into something about the power of sound that we're just now starting to glimpse.
We've covered some serious ground in this deep dive. Ancient temples, brainless cats, the Big Bang. My mind is blown. But if there's one thing you want listeners to remember, what would it be?
Pay attention to sound. Really listen. It's not just background noise. It's a force that's shaping our world, our bodies, our consciousness, everything. Explore it. Be open to what you discover.
Well said. We've reached the end of our sonic adventure for today, but this is really just the beginning. Keep listening, keep questioning. Who knows what you might unlock?